Hello YouTube, Rocky3 here, back with another kicking action figure review. Yeah, for today's review we have another DC Universe Classics figure, probably a lesser known character. This is Tier. This is a DC Universe Classics Tier figure. And he's actually a pretty cool figure. I got him on clearance for like 10 bucks. And he's actually originally from a Superboy comic. So, yeah, Superboy. I don't have a Superboy figure, but I don't really care for one either. Anyways, yeah, I believe he came in the Ultra Humanite wave, along with like Alan Scott and Todd Rice and Zatanna. Pretty sure he was in that wave. But he didn't come with the Collect and Connect piece, which is why it's hard for me to remember. But it was the 75th anniversary, so he came with this button. Let's just focus. Yeah, collectible button, just like my Blue Beetle and my Alan Scott did. So, yeah, I had that button, and also this superpowers stand, which I have him on for the moment. He'll probably come off of it when I put him back up in my other shelf. Yeah. Yeah, anyways, let's actually get to this figure. I'm sure you're done listening to me talk. He's actually not a bad figure. Like, if you know about the character, I'd say pick him up, because he's pretty cool. Let's get into articulation. Got up and down on the head. Of course, like side to side and etc. Got an ab crunch, waist joint, in and out on the arm, forward and back, bicep swivel, elbow bend, and some wrist articulation. I'm also going to show you articulation on this arm separate since they're so vastly different. We also have up and down on this arm, and forward and back. And then you have a rotation up there, a nice little swivel, and then also an elbow bend, but it can also rotate like that. So, more articulation than this arm so far. But yeah, so there's actually one extra point of articulation in this arm since it also has like a wrist swivel. And that is clear, which is really cool. But in and out on the legs, forward and back. Got a thigh swivel, knee bend, and also up and down on the foot. So, yeah. Alright articulation, pretty much what you expect from DC Universe Classics with an extra joint in his arm. So, now how about we get into some detail. Let's take a look at some detail. Well, I mean, there's not much detailing you can do for this figure. He's mostly just red and black. But he does have this yellow arm, which required a lot of detail, and they really did just slap it on there. A nice bit of detail, like in the arm, you know, you see got little buttons and stuff. Very nice gold color. And you got a different, darker shade of gold for the rivets. And they painted all the buttons and stuff, as you can see. And you got that clear portion on his arm, so it looks like you could fire a blast out of it or something. And then a good bit of detail on his face. He's like a red Mr. T with that mohawk and etc. But yeah, some really good detail on that face. Nice head sculpt. Eyes are painted well. Then this is a separate piece. Just black, basic body. Red arms. These gloves are sculpted pretty well. I think they look pretty cool. Cool looking gloves. And you just got this pack. And then, you know, just legs are basic colors. And some cool sculpted boots. So yeah, that's really it for detail. He's pretty bland, but you can't blame him because he's a little bland looking. He's not really that complicated of a character, detail-wise. So now how about we get into some size comparisons. So since I don't have a Superboy, I'm going to try to make up with some other Kryptonians. So yeah, here's my Toys R Us exclusive Supergirl from the Supergirl Lex Luthor 2-pack. And they scale up fine together. I imagine Tier as like a pretty big guy, you know? Like he's Space Gladiator Champion or something like that, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I think he's fine. She's also a teenage girl, so whatever. And then Ultraman over here. You know, alternate dimension Superman or one of them. And they look fine too. I mean, Tier's taller than him, but once again, Tier's like this big Space Gladiator guy, so I expected him to be a little taller than some of my DC Universe classics. Here's Tier with some other Mattel lines. Here's with the DC Unlimited New 52 Flash, And yeah, DC Unlimited's really stepping it up. I mean, Mattel is stepping it up with that line. And they're doing pretty well, I'd say. But, yeah, so he scales up well with the new DC Unlimited line, as you can see there. And then the DC Signature Collection, which is like the Mattel subscription website exclusive figures they have. You got Black Mask over here. And I think he scales up fine with him too. So yeah, he scales up well with all your basic Mattel figures. But now let's get into Mattel Movie Masters. So yeah, here are some figures from two different Mattel Movie Master lines. Here's the Hal Jordan from the Green Lantern line. Not my favorite figure. I really don't even like it that much at all. But, yeah, I guess Tyr's a little too big in this instance, like, compared to him. And then the Dark Knight Rises Batman. Just, he's not scaling up well with these Movie Masters, so Tyr doesn't scale up well with your Mattel Movie Masters, but he does scale up well with your other Mattel figures. Now here's Tyr with some DC Direct figures. These figures are not made by Mattel, and here we have the DC Direct Brightest Day Hawk and Dove. I actually bought the Hawk from mycomicsplus.net, and they gave me the Dove for free. They were having a sale on Blackest Night and Brightest Day figures. Buy one, get one free. So, it was pretty awesome, I have to say. So yeah, check out mycomicsplus.net. There's a link and a coupon code for their website down below. I highly recommend checking them out. But yeah, here's Tyr compared with them. Tyr's actually about as tall as a DC Direct, which is actually kind of cool. Like, he's as tall as the Hawk. Usually the Hawk's much taller. Like, see, Ultraman here, Hawk's much taller than Ultraman, but about the same height as him. So if you see Tyr, like if you want Tyr to be about the same size as your regular heroes, well, then you might actually want to display him with your DC Directs. I mean, obviously the Dove might be a bit too tall, but he's about the same height as my Hawk. Not the same build, so it might look a bit awkward and the details not as great, but hey, you know, whatever. So I guess this is really up to you, but I say I feel like Tyr should be a little bit bigger than my heroes, so I don't think he scales up that well, but yeah, I'm going to leave this one up to you guys. And I know I don't show my Dove a lot, but I'm about to pick up two different DC superheroes that are female, so I'll show her in those reviews so you can have a more feminine size comparison. So, what are my final thoughts on the DC Universe Classics Tyr figure? Well, despite being probably a lesser known character, I mean, I'm not really much of a big Superboy fan. I don't know how big he is in Superboy, in the Superboy mythos, but I mean, I think he's a pretty cool figure. You know, he's nice, decent size. He has that really cool arm. And I guess you can just put him in your Kryptonian display, battling your Kryptonians. But, yeah, he actually is pretty cool. I mean, the detail is, you know, average for Mattel, except for that arm, which they paid a lot of attention to, you can tell. Paint's pretty alright, I guess. And he's just all around a nice figure. So I'm going to give this Tyr 3 out of 5 stars. So, yeah, I mean, like, he's just like your average run-of-the-mill figure. He's nothing really special, but he's not a bad figure either. He's pretty cool, but, I mean, if you're not familiar with him, he might not be the best thing for you. I don't know, it really just depends on your taste. I thought he was cool, and he was on clearance, so I picked him up. Alright, well, that's it for this review, you guys. Please remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. I love it when you guys do that kind of stuff, especially when it's positive, but I'll take any kind of feedback I can get. But yeah, remember to check out all the links in the description below, including our second channel, Facebook, Twitter. We'll follow you back on Twitter, mycomicsplus.net, and there's also a coupon code down there for that website. They have lots of DC figures, Godzilla figures, Marvel figures, and more, so I highly recommend going to check them out. I shop there all the time. That's literally where all my DC Directs stuff come from. All my DC Directs are from there. But, yeah. That's really it. So, rate, comment, subscribe. And I will see you all later.